I think it's good to tell people about the story behind, like, oh, well, you know, you really want to hurt me. First of all, the way it was written is interesting because I was listening to a dub record in my friend's living room. I had these two friends who were really into reggae, and they were friends of John Moss. And I was hanging out with them in their house. And they had this old reggae tune on. It was just this sweet lovers bass line thing. And I don't know why. I had the lyrics already. This happens a lot with me. I write something down and I'm like, give me, what am I, you know, it just kind of came out. I just got the hook. Do you really want to hurt me? And I was thinking, does anyone need to hear this? Because it was so slow, you know, because I was really into this lover stuff. Like, there's a great record. I did a version of Everything I Own, but the original by Ken Booth is super slow. You sheltered me. It's like, so Do You Really Want to Hurt Me was in that pocket of like old reggae lovers rock that I was obsessed with, that I grew up with. And I was like, I want to write something like this. But unconsciously, I didn't want to write something that was just another stir it up, you know, some sort of beautiful, all that stuff's beautiful, do you know what I mean? Because I think if you're in that pocket, you can write about the sunshine. But, you know, in my case at 22, I was like, well, I love this music, but I need to say what I need to say.
Yeah.
Unconsciously. And the record was massively successful in all these, like, Jamaica and places like that. Like, people just embraced me and reggae. And so there was as we were saying earlier, contradictions, right? You're not meant to like that. I'm not meant to be an Elvis fan. Who makes the rules? I'll be a fan of whoever I like. Even Glenn Campbell has said some things about me, and I was like, I don't care. I fucking love his music. I ain't gonna change that. Listening to, I just was like, oh, this works over this groove. So then I brought it to the guys, and then we kind of developed it. We did the intro bit in the studio. It was like Steve Levine, who was became our fifth member. He was our producer. He was the guy that got us recorded because we'd never been recorded. And suddenly we're like, oh, this is what we sound like. How exciting. I was at a nightclub and I saw a friend of mine was doing a performance and Helen Terry was there walking into this performance. And my friend said to me, this is Helen Terry, she's an amazing singer. And I stupidly said, go on there and sing. And she goes, no. She goes, I'm not performing Seal. If you want to hear me sing, give me a call.
That's funny.
And she came into the studio and she was kind of just, you know, like we had that little intro of me and that was, oh my God, doing that intro. I wanted to murder everybody in there. I was in there for hours to get that. Give me time. I'm not going to get up there now. I do something a bit more gravitational these days.
It sounds pretty good.
It's still beautiful. I tell you what we don't do is, you know, obviously we're respectful to the song always. So you'll never lose that give me time. It can be lower in this pocket, like quite sweet, soulful. We play around with the sort of more of the space of the song now and people just seem to love it. I haven't had any complaints. Normally if you do something that's like questionable, the audience is like texts, send you a tweet saying, love you, that, but all of the people were saying, oh, it's more feeling now. There's more feeling in it. So the journey of the song is such a beautiful thing. You know, people come up to me all the time and say, oh, particularly with that song, obviously. A lot of gay kids come up to me and say, oh, that song was like my song when I was a kid at school. Marriages. It's not really something you play at a wedding.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not the most obvious.
But anyway, I remember writing I Had You Really Want to Hurt Me as a kind of poem or some scribble I'd done.
Yeah.
That was really basically sort of asking the question, give me time to realize my crime. What have I done? What have I done? Let me love and still, well, all right, well, maybe just come back. Let me do this, you know, and it's what you do with love, isn't it? I have danced inside your eyes. How can I be real? It's like, well, you've seen me now. You've seen my true soul. You looked into my soul and you've seen me. So now, what do we do with that? You know, I think all of it is like love is never asked. It's like because love is unexplainable, and I think that's what You Really Want to Hurt Me is about. Or you know, but also you know that if someone doesn't love you, or if someone, I don't know. I mean, you look back at these things and you think, what would I have said differently? What would I have done differently? And some of it, when I'm on stage, sometimes I really think about what I'm feeling at that moment when I do that song, because I always say to the audience, this song's been on a big journey with me. This song is like, you know, because it made me famous. It broke my heart. It paid for my house. I mean, it just is endless. The stuff brought wisdom to me. You know, singing it for all these years, suddenly I'm like, oh, actually, I think I am wiser. So I can sing it, but know about it in such a different way. Because, you know, obviously the story of that has changed, and, you know, a song doesn't remain the same any more than a person remains the same, because the song has to change with the person. If you let go of a moment, you know, emotionally, sometimes it can take years. But once you let go of that moment, the song starts to be about something different. You know, I mean, my performance of it now is in a way more honest, I think. There's an honesty to it that wasn't there. Not that there was no honesty in the first place, but there's something about it now that's, I feel, rawer, more beautiful. There's more truth in it, more truth about the pain I was feeling, not necessarily anything else, but like what I was doing to myself initially, I think, you know, because obviously no one breaks your heart, you let them. And it's also a bit of a weird, it's a sort of metaphor, isn't it? Being brokenhearted. I mean, it can't stay forever, or else you just never get anything done.